Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Eurasia Research Online Live International Conference. Our participants are Dr. Habil Andrea Bensik from Hungary, Dr. Kalnaya Daraha, Professor Andreas Vinadi, Nasir Al Rawahi, Sara Namoko, Noor Shahida Hassan, and Shaima Al Hamoudi. We have around 8 participants from these countries from Hungary, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Qatar, Thailand, United Arab Emirates, and India. We are broadcasting this conference on Facebook Live on multiple pages of Eurasia Research. The links for the live sessions are shared in the chat box. Before we start the conference, I would like to introduce Eurasia Research to you in a nutshell. Please allow me a few moments.
Sa India ini.
Welcome, Sarah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. With over more than 1 million satisfied members and associates spread across the globe, Eurasia Research is a scholarly association who have been working for nearly a decade. Eurasia Research has organized several successful international conferences, workshops, and training programs at various reputed institutions and grand venues. Eurasia has been tirelessly working for research world and have not stopped their endeavors even during COVID era and have presented research community with online platform which was safe and convenient method to continue their passion. We are an international community of researchers, practitioners, students, and educationists who aim to bring together worldwide researchers and professionals, encourage intellectual development, and to create opportunities for networking and collaboration. These objectives are achieved through academic networking, meetings, conferences, workshops, projects, research publications, academic awards, and scholarships. We provide scholarship to deserving candidates to promote students and research scholars to participate in the international conference. Young researcher scholarship is provided the form of full registration fee waiver. We have vast experience of publishing papers for more than 7 years. Our associated journals publish original papers, review papers, conceptual framework, analytical and simulation models, case studies, empirical research, technical notes, and book reviews. We cater to more than 30 plus themes in the area of teaching and education and have registered ISSN and have following renowned indexing. Google Scholar, Crosscheck, Authenticate, Crossref, the Keeper's Registry, Script, Portico, Road, Directory of Open Access Scholarly Resources, OAI PMH Registered Data Provider, PKP Index. We will soon be applying for Scopus 2. We have a wide network of 100 plus internationally acclaimed keynotes across the globe who share their knowledge and guidance with our participants with open hands. We have a large number of committee members and advisors who support us and guide us through their expert opinions and decision making capabilities. We couldn't have thought of reaching here without them. We also encourage our participants to connect with more than 15K plus followers on our social media platform where they can share their research and interests. Join our Facebook group and be a part of the discussions by researchers and academicians. The link to the Facebook group is shared in the chat box. We also have several collaborations with universities, colleges, and institutes to better serve all interested and like minded intellectuals. With great enthusiasm and pride, we would like to announce our latest project, which is the Terra Fellow Program in Education. The program offers an opportunity to learn the key concepts and latest trends in the teaching industry from the academic stalwarts. Thank you for your time. Before we start, I would like to introduce to you TERA President Dr. Lion Sally, Dean of Graduate and Professional Studies, LaSalle University, Newton, from United States. Also, we have a small video from our Vice President, Dr. Kanlaya Daraha, to welcome you all.
Hello everyone. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Dr. Farah Charles, the co-founder of Eurasia Research and Teaching and Education Research Association, to get me the honor to be the president of Teaching and Education Research Association. I try to do the best on my duty. TERA is promote the researchers worldwide all over the world, promote about workshop, activities, the scholarship and academic awards. The memberships are around 15,000 all over the world to collaborate together. We have the conference in Asia, Europe, and Africa. We have the website and social media. In the difficult times of coronavirus, we remain conduct the research, the activities, the meeting, the journal publication, and the meetings, the online platforms from the researchers. I hope we will be available to collaborate together about research, workshop activities, and another else sustainable. Finally, I pray for all of you, your family, your community, and people all over the world to be safety and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Next, we have a small video from our eminent speaker, Dr. Arthur McNeil, PhD, Dissertations and MA, Department of Education and Society, Institute of Science, Innovation and Culture, Rajamangla University of Technology, Trong Thep, from Bangkok, Thailand.
I'm now working in Bangkok. I'm the head of the Department of Education and Society at one of Bangkok government universities. I work at the Institute of Science, Innovation and Culture, which is a relatively new postgraduate institute, which has been in existence for just under a year. So we're running PhD programs, master programs, and apart from my department, we have global Buddhism and management science. Those are the other two disciplines. But I've spent much of my working life in Southeast Asia, 23 years in Hong Kong. Most of it has been in language education. either in faculties of education, where I've been working on teacher education programs, mostly for teachers of languages, or I've been running large university language centers. But before that, I worked in the United Kingdom, which is where I'm from, at universities there, and also in Germany at the University of Frankfurt, and in Russia at what's now called the Linguistics University in Moscow. So now I am basically in a state of semi-retirement. I was just going to say, it's very nice to be working in an environment where your subject matters, and I'm working in language education, and here, certainly in Thailand, there's a lot of struggling with English and Chinese and other local languages sort of competing for space in the school curriculum. And the locals are under quite a lot of pressure to improve their language skills. So that makes it exciting. Yeah, well, my own area of interest is to do with second language learning, and in particular the acquisition of vocabulary and the structure of the mental lexicon, how people manage to store so many words in their heads, at once, and the difference between first and second languages in this connection. I've tried to apply it to the knowledge base of teachers, in particular language teachers, to find out what sort of language they need to know in order to do their jobs well. And this has been involved some collaboration with colleagues who work in the field of language awareness, where we've looked quite broadly at how language impinges on teachers' lives and careers. Yeah, it was, I think, a challenging time for all of us, actually.
Yeah.
We were all, certainly here in Thailand, initially very restricted in our movements. We had to show ID papers to go to the local supermarket. Then there was all the worries about being vaccinated, and I think perhaps in Southeast Asia, people are more likely to follow their government's instructions. And so even now in Bangkok, most of the local Thai people are still wearing masks, whereas we've got many international visitors who are coming from countries where masks are no longer required. So we're seeing the two populations behaving differently in public. But during the COVID, it was, at least we had more time for research. We had more chance to reflect on our own work, but it was very isolating. This is why I think I very much appreciated online opportunities, such as conferences, and teaching online meant that we didn't lose touch with our own students. But I think we're all relieved that it's come to an end.
Yeah.
Yes, I think in the old days, going to a conference was associated with traveling and going to perhaps a country or a place you didn't know. And then perhaps as you get a bit older in your career, you tend to focus on conferences that match your own subject areas, so that you can interact with other people with the same interests. Now we've had to try to transfer this to online venues, and I think the online conferences, we've all got used to them, and they've probably become more interactive than they used to be. I think the conference organizers have responded generally rather well to the special situation of COVID. They've still got traditional presentations, but there are more opportunities to interact with speakers online, and also, and particularly your organization organizes like a lot of group activities for the conference members. And I think people appreciate that. They leave feeling that they've been part of an experience, not just a spectator. I would very much. I think most of our colleagues have enhanced their skills of teaching online during the last 2-3 years, and they're probably much better at communicating with their students. And I think it may mean that also their conference presentations are more interesting than they would have been several years before. And they possibly invite more participation from the other participants who are in the same online room. Though I would definitely recommend online conferences. I think what I like about Eurasia Research is that whatever your topic is, you meet colleagues whose topic areas are a little bit different. You tend to have a good interdisciplinary approach, that you put people together in the same strand who maybe are working on very different topics, but they've possibly got other things in common, like assessment or exclusion. That the themes that they're addressing are in common, although their disciplines are different. And I think this is good for everyone who teaches any subject. We often don't know enough about the nature of other disciplines and what experiences students have there. And I find the Eurasia's approach to placing, when you're programming and scheduling papers, I think you take a lot of care over grouping people together who you predict will have something in common. And that programming I've appreciated a lot.
Good morning,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone.
I am
Thank you, everybody, for your time. Moving ahead with the conference. The conference schedule would be like: Session 1, keynote talk; Session 2, team activity and photo session; Session 3 would be technical talk. I would like to request all of you to please rename your Zoom account with your full name in English language. This will help us to record your presence. You may ask your questions related to the presentations in the chat section while the presentations are going on. All the certificates, receipts, and proceedings will be sent to the participants within a week on their registered mail IDs. The proceedings will include all the full papers and abstracts accepted for the conference. Moving ahead with the publication process. The publication process starts once the registration process is complete. The author needs to send their papers, consent forms, and reviewer details on the given mail ID. The review reports will be sent to the author once the review process is over. The final stage of publication starts after receiving the revised papers from the authors. Please note that the publication process takes around 50 days after the conference dates if all the editorial guidelines are followed within the given deadlines. Let's welcome our first keynote speaker, Dr. Kalnaya Daraha, Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, Prince of Songkhla University, Patani Campus, Patani, Thailand. Her topic is Post-COVID Affected the Orphans of the Deep South in Thailand. Assistant Professor Dr. Kalnaya Daraha, she was the former president of Social Work Curriculum at Prince of Songkhla University, Thailand. She graduated doctoral degree of social work at University Utara, Malaysia. She works with civic women at Prince of Songkhla University for Rehabilitate the Women, Respect Human Dignity, and she works with Coordination Center for Children and Women in Southern border provinces. The situation of children and women in the southern border provinces has been occurred for a long time. It affected the women and the women in the southern border provinces to participate as a civil society. There are more than 100 organizations in various dimensions to heal the human rights, construct peace, education, communication for understanding, promote careers, education, and etc. She is the Vice President of Teaching, Education Research and Association, and also she is the peer reviewer of Thai Joke and other publications in Thailand, Asian and international papers. Her papers, many scholars from Thailand and abroad mentioned her researchers special award. She received special award as the specialist of social work from Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, Prince of University, and award from Prince of Songkla, Patani campus, award of outstanding alumni of Faculty of Social Administration University in January 2022 and Thammasat University in June 2022, and Global Research and Development Services. Let's move on to her presentation.
Kalaya Daraha from Thailand. Today I talk about COVID-19 affected human society. Everybody know well about COVID-19. I think so, yeah. COVID-19. What is COVID-19? What does COVID-19 stand for? CO stands for corona, V for virus, and D for disease. Formerly, this disease was referred to as 2019 novel coronavirus or 2019 COVID. The COVID-19 virus is a new virus linked to the same family of viruses as severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, and some types of common cold. Everyone knows, I think so, yeah. Thailand collaborate with ASEAN countries to join China in the fight against the COVID-19. COVID-19 from Wuhan, China, yes, right? Thailand affected the COVID-19 too, and the government tried to have the policy to control the COVID-19. Thailand is near Burma, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Malaysia. Yes, right? And Thailand is good to protect, to control COVID-19, you know well, in the world right now, because Thailand has the measure to control the COVID-19. The government has the policy to control the COVID-19 so that establishment of the Coronavirus Infection Management Center 2019 COVID-19. The Cabinet as a meeting held on 10 March 2020 resolved to assign the Secretariat of the Prime Minister to establish the Coronary Epidemic Infection Management Center 2019 COVID-19 to act as a policy and urgent measure in the management of the above situation by allowing the board to prepare, prevent, and solve the problem of emerging natural communicable diseases and coronavirus infection prevention data center 2019 also serves under the coronary infection disease management center 2019. It's the good policy from Thailand. I think the good policy from, in my mind, in other countries. When you come to Thailand for travelers, you must do like this. It has the announcement from Ministry of Public Health to help beware card. For travelers arriving in Thailand, like this, welcome to Thailand. Please keep this card with you. It may save your life if you're ill with fever, cause difficult breathing. Within 14 days after arriving in Thailand, kindly give this card to your doctor and tell him or her of your recent travel in Wuhan, China. You know, it's COVID-19 says from Wuhan, China. You may have been exposed to an infectious disease before arriving in this country. Thus, your information on travel history, symptoms, onset date, arrival date, accommodation name will help your doctor to give a right disease diagnosis and prompt treatment. It's really difficult if you don't tell the truth what's happened to you, what's happened to the country, and Yes, you know well. If you would like to report your illness, please contact the Department of Disease Control at DDC hotline 1422 so that appropriate assistance can be offered. You can add yes, DDC hotline 1422. It's very good. It's very nice. It's very helpful to everybody, to travelers when come to Thailand. The Prime Minister of Thailand, Prayut Chan-o-cha, you know Prayut Chan-o-cha? Yes. WHO supports special edition comic book will help protect Thai from COVID-19. Comic book is very well for people because nowadays people has tension about COVID-19 and someone or everybody or many people free about COVID-19. It's had the comic book. It's really fun. When they read, they have fun too. Yes. Thailand situation now. Thailand is the world says or some of people says and the report says Thailand is the best country to control COVID-19. In the chart, Thailand situation now on 27 June, yesterday, yes, right? June 20, at 1 p.m. Confirmed case total 3,162. New case, no. Serious, no. Death, 58. The confirmed case of Thai who returned from abroad in quarantine places, total 225, new case 0, death 0. Patient under investigation, PUI total 5,324, new PUI 229. Travel screening at ports of entry. Thailand has strict to control COVID-19. You see airport, how many person? Seaport, many. Ground port, many. At Sewatana, many. You see, Thailand must solve the problem, must protect everybody, must protect travelers and people. Okay, yes, you see it. You can see this. And the government has the policy to rehabilitate the people who affected the COVID-19 like this. For example, he has the policy to stand together like this and to have the measure to rehabilitate the vulnerable groups like youth, like elderly, like handicapped, around 13 million persons, okay? And 3 months, around 3 months, they can give each 1,000 baht per month, okay? Around 3 months. And the Ministry of Social Development and Human Security give for the handicap too, add 800 baht to 1,000 baht. Yes, right? And open about rehabilitate the child. Okay, like this. And the government has the policy to help the people too, to help the people around COVID-19, like this, like the chart, like this. Travel together and insurance for the people in Thailand, yes. Because it's I'm so sorry because it's Thai language, but I can translate a little bit. Can translate for you. For example, เที่ยวปันสุขเราไปเที่ยวด้วยกัน is travel together, yes. And ประกันสังคม is say that insurance, yes. And มาตรการช่วยเหลือเกษตรกร is the chart Thai language, but I can translate for you. It's assist the farmer and ครม.ไฟเขียว699 ล้านตอบแทนกำนันผู้ใหญ่บ้านเสี่ยงโควิด -19 because I can translate for like this green light cabinet with a budget of 699 million in return for the village headman rescuer for COVID-19 village man is very important person because they stay at the rural, in the committee. They knows about the problem COVID very well, and the government has the reward for them. Yes, reward, because I think it's very nice to do like this. And for the people, for Thai people, the government has the policy คืนเงินลดค่าไฟฟ้า because the charge for Thai language I can translate for you return and คืนเงินลดน้ำค่าประปา is translate reduce electricity and water bill. It's very nice for people because many people lack of work now and they are tension with COVID-19. They cannot work. They can afford the money. Yes. And another else, the government has the policy to rehabilitation the vulnerable groups. For example, loan minimum interest and suspended payment because many people has no work, cannot work now. The government knows well about this. Thailand is very good. I think so in my mind. Thailand is very good to have the measure for rehabilitate the vulnerable group and people very well in my mind. Yes. And other health the employ มาตรการช่วยเหลือคนว่างงาน because no works in COVID-19 stop company cannot work. They can help the unemployed around 4,000 position. No, 40,000 position and building tax because the people has no work now. Many people suffer about COVID-19. Yes. And another else, the Minister of Health, okay, train the volunteer together to protect to look after the community about digital because they know well because the volunteer is very important person to look after the community. Yes. And another else after COVID-19 was happened for the vulnerable group. You see the wanderer. You see the taxi has no work. I think it's very important that the government must have the policy to do any more for the vulnerable groups. And during the COVID-19, the people have no work. Some people lack of work. Some people suffer. Some people suffer from the life, from work, from everything. And you see in Thailand has donate the food for people, for the vulnerable people waiting for donation like this, the picture like this. You like this, okay, for food, for baggage, for baggage to the vulnerable groups. And in the southern region of Thailand, there are they have the vulnerable groups too. The civic society held the vulnerable group in the deep south. Deep south, it has Pattani, Narathiwat, Yala, and another province, 2 provinces, Satun and Songkhla, to get food for them, to help the hospital. And in the southern region, there has the They has the coordination center to do the work. Yes, okay. It has coordination center for children and women in certain border provinces to help the people. It has also civic society to help the people. It's very good in my mind. In my mind, Thailand has the good policy, has the good policy, and the policy and the government can control the COVID-19 very well. Thank you. Yes.
And make some corrections for clarity and professional consideration. For example, working hours, pay, spirituality, scholarship, etc. The results of the questionnaire survey were calculated at the organizational level as a whole and can be interpreted as an indicator of organizational happiness. As individuals were interviewed, the calculation are valid for the individuals in first step. And then, based on the calculation method, the results can be interpreted at the organizational level using the date of the questionnaires filled in by managers. So the questionnaires were evaluated in two steps. The first one summarizing staff opinions. It can be seen that each of the 5 areas is given equal weight in the evaluation, with the weight within the areas being adjusted accordingly. The level of values in each area shows which ones were absolutely and urgently needed to intervene. According to the analysis, each of the employee areas requires less thinking and more attention since they reach approximately 1/3 of the 20% weights. With a small difference, but to an almost equal extent, there are shortcomings, except for one area, which qualifies living standards. Here they achieved a very low value, which has long been a neuralgic point in higher education. Indicators indicate problems that can be related to salary, benefits, and recognitions. It is not surprising that the greatest dissatisfaction can be felt here, as it is known that there are significant gaps in higher education compared to the business sector. In the psychological well-being area, problems with job satisfaction and negative emotions arise primarily. Looking at the questions of the indicators examined, it means that overall they are not quite satisfied with their workplaces and feel stress, disappointment and frustration more often than acceptable. At the same time, it should be mentioned that colleagues trust one another and their superiors, don't feel discrimination too often, and positive feelings frequently appear in the dominant way. The positive assessment of organizational trust strengthens employee performance, cooperation, and successful operation of the organization as a whole. It indicates the presence of an ethical environment and employee commitment. Dissatisfaction appears in the case of work schedule in the area of time use. Flexible working hours received particularly positive assessment among teachers. And in the area of education, the opportunities for development and training received very low scores, which can be assessed as positive because the learning needs of colleagues are emphasized, but the lack of opportunities of their funding cause dissatisfaction. At the same time, scholarship opportunities received an outstandingly high evaluation. The second part of the survey shows the views of deans and rectors. The logic is similar with the total value of the area surveyed being 100%. So each area is given a weight of 25 here. The results are compared to this. In terms of organizational conditions, we found results in one area, which was related to employee retention and the management of generational problems. The fact that the area of good governance received the highest score should be seen as particularly positive. This is the result of the harmonization of employment, workplace guidelines and regulations, levels of fluctuation and income. Research shows that employee engagement, job satisfaction, compensation, rewards, recognition, and transformational leadership are significantly associated with intention to quit. The area of community vitality also received quite high scores, where community donation was qualified as the weakest indicator. Employees rarely volunteers except for the activities related to the promotion of education. The two areas that are significantly underestimated are cultural diversity and ecological diversity. Shortcomings in both areas are to be found in the indicators of donation, promotion of national and cultural values, and voluntary activities. In addition, there are serious problems in the area of environmental protection, insufficient attention to the emission of treatment of harmful materials, and the shortcomings of donation are also highlighted. Summarizing the happiness index of the domestic higher education in business, we obtain the following result. This, based on the rating table, implies that urgent and immediate interventions are needed in certain areas. The table is also part of the methodology developed. It can be seen that if an organization achieves the highest rating, it is recognized by the Bhutanese government. At the end of my presentation, I summarized the results. In the research, colleagues working at the faculties of economics of an East Central European countries higher education institution were interviewed, aiming to explore and strengths and weaknesses of this segment of higher education, which can be used to improve employee happiness, its organizational conditions with targeted measures, and as a result improve the quality of education and students' satisfaction. In response to the questions we posed at the beginning of the research, we can say that we have succeeded in finding and applying an indicator that assesses employee happiness and organizational conditions in a holistic way. This means that the hard and soft elements of organizational performance can be measured with similar strengths and are more supportive of a real assessment. With the exception of some minimal wording and some measurement level corrections, the indicators used in the questionnaires are suitable for measurement and rating under non-Buddhist conditions. The values in each area indicated were intervention in absolutely necessary and urgent. Each of the employee domains requires thinking. The quality of life domain scores very low, which has long been a neuralgic point in higher education. Across the organizations surveyed, the staff opinion from different universities results are very similar. In general, positive and negative ratings appear in the same areas. Indicators based on subjective perceptions rated mainly in the area of psychological well-being fit into the categories of areas rating objective values and were rated at a comparable level. They don't appear to bias the results and provide information at the same level as the objective indicators. Besides the formation of a general picture on request, the comparison of individual institution is also possible, and institutional managers can obtain immediately usable information by comparing it with the picture. Based on these, the development strategy can be formulated, risk can be assessed, and the measures taken to seize opportunities can be planned much more precisely. The results of tests confirm the long-known fact that there are serious gaps in higher education in the areas of salary, benefits and other forms of recognition, and that volunteering outside education and attention paid to environmental protection show serious shortcomings. It has been proven that the Bhutanese logic, the calculation method based on the developed measurement questionnaire, can be well adapted to Christian environmental conditions as well, and it provides informative results that can be immediately used in everyday decisions for all interested parties, both in professional and non-professional circles. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Kallaya Taraha. Welcome, Professor. Would you like to add something to your presentation? Professor Kallaya. Does anybody else have any questions regarding Professor's presentation? All right, let's move ahead with the conference. Our next keynote speaker is Professor Dr. Habil Andrea Benesic, University of Pannonia and Veszprém from Hungary. Her topic is Well-being in Higher Education, Empirical Research based on the Logic of the GNH, that is Gross National Happiness. Professor Dr. Habil Andrea Benesic, CSc, PhD, is a professor at University of Pannonia in Veszprém, Hungary, and at Janos Salient University in Komárno, Slovakia. Responsible for the management of students' academic research and head of the doctoral program in English. She is doing research in the fields of knowledge, change, human resources management. At the same time.
कर लिया नीरज।
Disciplines at the same time. Her current research topic is the well-being of higher education staff based on the method of logic of GNH, gross national happiness. She is the author of a national number of scientific publications and a member of some international scientific committees. Let's move ahead with her presentation. Apologies. Uh, Dr. Benessek was unavailable at the time. So, if you have any questions regarding her presentation, presentation with her topic, you may leave them in the chat section and she will get back to you with her answers. Moving ahead, our next uh, session is team activity and photo session. Let's proceed towards our team building activity. Sometimes we miss the opportunity of connection and linkage with fellow participants of the conference. This team activity is to encourage interaction among all the participants. One by one, we will share the views and solutions on the topic of discussion, and also we will be conducting a photo session during the same. I would request all of you to please turn on your mics and cameras for the team activity. The topic of discussion is, do you really need 8 hours of sleep every night? I repeat, do you really need 8 hours of sleep every night? We have a small video to introduce this concept. The video credits and copyright goes to Body Stuff with Dr. Jen Gunter.
Sleep is so important. We need it to live. And when we can't sleep, we're desperate for help. But lately, our fascination with sleep feels as if it's taken on an urgency. Do a quick internet search for sleep, and you'll find a slew of articles about how to make your sleep perfect. New gadgets, fancy alarm clocks, stay away from blue light. There are lots of services, products, and advice columns that tell us we're sleeping wrong. Not enough, not quality sleep, wrong position. Even worse, you might find scary messaging claiming that if you're not sleeping right, your life is going to be shorter. You're going to get all kinds of diseases. One of the biggest worries we have about our sleep is that we're not getting enough. And that anything less than 7 hours a night means that we're doomed to bad health. Everything from high blood pressure to Alzheimer's disease. But there are 2 flaws with this kind of messaging. The first flaw is that it's not completely accurate. 7 to 8 hours of sleep, while recommended for adults, is just an average. And while messages have to be simplified for health communication to the public, sometimes important nuances get lost. So yes, it's true that not getting enough sleep in the long term is associated with health problems like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and depression, but fixating solely on 7 to 8 hours ignores the fact that there's a range of sleep that people need. The duration of a good night's sleep can be different for different people. Some adults need 8, but some are just fine on 6. The second flaw with this kind of doomsday messaging is that it can be counterproductive, especially for people who do have trouble sleeping. For instance, in 2019, it was estimated that 21% of adults in the US were wearing sleep tracking devices, and that number's probably growing. And I get it. It's fascinating to see how much sleep you've gotten each night and to know what part of your night was spent in deep sleep or dreaming. But having all of that sleep data is causing some people to become obsessed with it. So much so that it's leading to a condition some call orthosomnia, a preoccupation with the constant need to achieve perfect sleep. And this condition, ironically, is causing more sleep problems. Now, orthosomnia might be an extreme example, but the anxiety of not getting enough sleep is keeping some of us up at night. So here's what some experts are saying. Stop fixating on the number, because that can lead to unrealistic expectations of sleep. According to Dr. Colleen Carney, a psychologist and the head of the Ryerson University Sleep Lab, the basic questions you should ask yourself are, do I feel reasonably well rested during the day? Do I generally sleep through the night without disturbances? Or if I wake, do I fall back asleep easily? Can I stay awake through the day without involuntarily falling asleep? If your answers are yes to all three, you probably don't need to worry about your sleep. And if you're struggling with your sleep, instead of buying expensive blue light filters or fancy sleep trackers, try talking with your doctor to make sure there aren't any medical conditions that need to be explored first. Then, try evidence-based recommendations laid out by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. What's really cool is that there's a highly effective therapy called Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia, or CBTI. It doesn't have any medications involved, and it has a really low failure rate.
Thank you everyone for your attention. Now we will start with the team activity. Professor Andreas, would you like to start with your opinions?
Yes, thank you. I couldn't agree more with the video because I think to each his own. Yeah, okay. So some people need 8 hours of sleeping. Some people just need 5 hours. Some people just need 3 hours. But I think quality over quantity. Yeah, if you sleep only for 3 hours, but you sleep well, qualified enough, so you will be healthy. But if you sleep for 8 hours, but the quality is not good, you will feel tired the whole day. So I have an edit say that quotation said that it is just mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. So yeah, we don't mind, okay, and then we believe that actually we are quite healthy, yeah, and then as the video suggests, maybe if we feel doesn't have enough sleep, we can consult with the doctor to see whether we have a medical problem or not. But if not, yeah, I think it's just enjoy our life and doing something productive, because the more we force ourselves to sleep, the more difficult for us to sleep. So just enjoy and do something productive, like this one. Yeah, this is the World Cup season. If you cannot sleep, yeah, just watch the football match, the World Cup semi-final, and so on and so forth. What I mean by that is just do something productive, like reading books or something, until you feel sleepy. Okay, I think that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your views with us. Dr. Sarah, your opinions, please.
Yeah, while Dr. Andreas was talking, I was laughing at myself because it is my own experience when I was doing my PhD in Malaysia. There were times that it's already 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, and my eyes, my whole body, my mind are already very, very tired, trying to catch that 8 hours sleep. Because that's what we were taught when we were in elementary, right? When we were kids, our parents, our grandparents would force us, and they will even spank us if we don't get good sleep. But then again, I would agree with Dr. Andreas that if it does not if I don't mind, it doesn't matter. Anyway, that's a joke, but yes, it makes sense. As long as I get the rest in between my working hours, and my body is still okay with it, I do listen to my body. So yeah, there are some stereotype ideas that sometimes pull us back from our being productive. But at the bottom of it all, our body will tell us when to rest and when to go. That's my take on this, on the talk of on the video that was presented earlier. And yeah, thank you, Dr. Andreas, for that.
Thank you, Dr. Sarah, for your views. Personally, I believe that we are kind of ignoring our body's demands nowadays because it's too hectic nowadays. All of our lifestyles, our working schedules, they are so hectic that sometimes we miss on our sleep patterns. All right, thank you for sharing your views and actively participating in the team activity. Let's move ahead with the conference then. Our first presenter of the day is Andreas Vinadi, English Language Education Department, Universitas Kristen Duta Bakana, Yogyakarta, Indonesia. His topic is overcoming the challenges and maximizing the benefits of online learning, teachers' perspectives. You can see the abstract on your screens. Moving ahead with his presentation.
Yeah, okay. Good morning or good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, depending on where you are. Thank you for the opportunity given to me to do my presentation. My name is Andreas Winagdi from Universitas Kristen Duta Wacana, Jogja, Indonesia. Today I'm going to talk about the overcoming the challenges and maximizing the benefits of online learning from the teacher's perspective. Okay, as we all know that the year 2020 was the year to remember. Yeah, it was the starting point of the COVID-19. And we all know that COVID-19 has influenced many aspects of our lives. It drastically changed the way we do things. We had to wear masks, we had to wash our hands, and we couldn't sit or stand too close with other people. Most of us had to stay home and stay there the whole day doing nothing. Okay. And the field of education is no exception. We as an educator also felt not to come to school or campus. We couldn't meet outside, on site, and the process should be conducted online. Of course, we need to adapt to this new normal. In the past, we could play games with our students, we could have fun activities, we could have a discussion, we could come closer to the student, we could see the student face, and so on and so forth. But now, we couldn't do that. So, the research questions are, what are the benefits of online learning? How to maximize the benefits? And then the third, what are the challenges of online learning? And number four, how to overcome the challenges? The methodology employed for this research is descriptive qualitative method. 7 teachers teaching at the Language Center of a private university in Jogja participated in the study. They were asked the following questions via emails. The first is, what are the benefits of online learning for students? Second, what are the benefits of learning for teachers? And then, in your opinion, can online learning replace or substitute on-site learning? And then the next one, in addition to survey, I also employed a direct observation to collect the data. Fortunately, the head of the Language Center asked me, the researcher, to be one of the observers of the online teaching learning process. The researcher watched for teaching videos sent by the Language Center, then gave comments, feedbacks, and suggestions. Now, the findings and discussion. first we are going to talk about the benefits. The benefits of online learning for the students are it can be done anywhere and anytime as long as they have internet connection. So the students do not need to come to the campus, they just stay where they are. Supposing they live in another island, they can just stay there at their home, and join the online Zoom meeting. And then related to A, it is cheaper than on-site learning. We just need a quota. Okay, and then C, online learning offers self-paced learning. Okay, this is important. And then online learning also improve the technology skills that eventually will be useful for them. Of course, they need to learn how to use the Zoom meeting, how to record themselves, and so on and so forth. And then this is quite important. In case the student were absent or didn't quite catch what the teacher said, they could replay the Zoom recording again and again. They can watch the video again and again. And then, of course, online learning fosters independent and autonomous learning. Because the student do it all by themselves. And then G, online learning is less intimidating for students because they do not meet with the teachers or their peers in person. So they can become more confident in sharing ideas. Usually in the class, the students, because they are shy or they don't want to be laughed at, they just keep silent all the time. So when the teacher asks, don't keep silent, say something. Okay, sir, something. But in the online learning, because they don't meet the teachers and their classmates in person, they can just more confident. And then the second one, the benefits of online learning for teachers. First, of course, is time and money saving. It is saving time because online learning usually lasts not as long as the on-site learning. They show that the teacher have a lot of time left. Okay, and the teacher do not also need to come to the campus. They can just stay home. And then B, unlimited class activities and resources. Real-world application of theory. The teacher can click here, click and there, and then show to the student. And then C, content and skills. The teacher can learn something new and developing more skills. Now, how to maximize the benefits? The first is use the time and money to do personal and professional development. Because the teacher have more time, they can do personal development, such as doing exercise, or create an e-book, prepare the materials better, and so on. And then B, to maximize the benefits, encourage the student and also ourselves, our teacher, to learn as much as we can, such as join online seminar, webinar, and conferences. In short, learning without walls. We can learn from anybody, just one click away. And then C, to maximize the benefits, we need to motivate the students and ourselves to practice self-discipline and time management. Now, after talking about the benefits, I would like to talk about the challenges. Challenges for both students and teachers. The first is technical problems such as bad signals. It is not uncommon that the student could not join the Zoom meeting, or they join and then suddenly they disappear because of the bad signal. And then the second one is lack of knowledge about technology. This is something new for all of us, especially the teachers. Maybe the student, because they are they are familiar with the technology, it is easier for them to learn about the technology. But the teachers, we also need to learn. Then the next one is lack of motivation. The students are less motivated to do the online learning because maybe they are bored, because the activity is just to listen to the teachers, so they get bored easily. And the number 4, lack of students' engagement. Sometimes the students just show the names without showing the face, with they made excuse because of the signal is bad, so I cannot open my video, I just show my names there. Okay, and we don't know as a teacher whether the student really joined the Zoom meeting or they just put the name and do something else. And then this is number 5, the students might cheat because no supervision. When they do assignment, they can just open book or they can ask somebody. We don't know. And then how to overcome the challenges. Number 1, We can record the Zoom meeting and put the recording in a Google Drive so that the student can watch the video over and over again. Yeah, okay. So this is one of the benefit also, yeah, that the Zoom meeting can be easily recorded, and then we can revisit the material. And then how to overcome the lack of knowledge about technology. Yeah, no other ways, just learn about the technology. Yeah, okay, and then how to handle the student lack of motivation. We can educate and motivate the student. We can say to the student, for example, first, you are lucky, yeah, to have an opportunity to get a higher education. Even luckier because you have the facility to join online meetings. Not many people are as lucky as you. You must be thankful and value the opportunity. And then we can see that, okay, we can tell the student next. Second, you can choose your action, but you cannot choose the consequence of your action. For instance, you can choose not to join the online meetings, but you must be willing to accept the consequence of failing the class. Lastly, I would like to say to my student that losers always make up excuses. Winners, on the other hand, find ways. So if you say, so I feel so sleepy when join the online learning. Well, get a cup of coffee, or wash your face, or do a little exercise, and so on and so forth. Supposing the students say, oh, I have a bad signal, you can join the neighbors, or you can change device, and so on and so forth. Yeah, okay, so tackle the challenge. And then number 4, how to handle the student's lack of engagement. We can engage the student by asking questions. And then when we ask question, when the student answer, they have to show the face. Yeah, after that they can turn the video off again, but when they answer the question, they can show their face so that we can see, and then the other student can also see the face of the student who answered the question. And then also we can have fun activities like Kahoot, quizzes, Padlers, and many other apps. I found that the students enjoy this activity, this quiz, Kahoot, quizzes. They are so enthusiastic in learning. And then how to handle, to make sure that the student do not cheat. Yeah, we can personalize or customize the assignment. So instead of giving them multiple choices question, we can ask them to make a kind of essay, yeah, and so on, so that we can know that the student make the assignment by themselves. Okay, so the conclusion, yeah, it's because coin has two sides. Yeah, online learning has its own challenges, but on the other hand, it also has a lot of benefits. Our job is to overcome the challenges and maximizing the benefits. But whether it is online learning, on-site learning, or blended learning, as long as we love our job, we will be able to teach effectively, and the student will learn heavily. Let's remind ourselves that the teacher's most beautiful asset is not a head full of knowledge, but a heart full of love and a hand willing to help. So, be a passionate teacher, everyone. Happy teaching, good luck, and thank you.
Thank you, Professor Binadi. That was lovely presentation. Would you like to add something more?
Yeah, okay. So as I said before that doing online learning is a challenge for all of us, but a challenge can be opportunity. So opportunity to develop ourselves and to develop our students. I think this is that most of us are trying to do now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Any questions, anybody?
Hi. I just would like to add some insights. I like it when Andrea said that the teachers during online classes have more time because in the Philippines, the teachers during online classes have more tasks than time. In a way, yeah. While I was was listening to the presentation of Sir Andreas, I found out that being neighboring countries, Philippines and Indonesia, we have almost similar situations, thus similar characteristics of our students, similar practices. Therefore, we have about the same similar experiences with our teachers and with our students regarding their online learning experiences. And one thing that caught my attention was when one of the results, Sir Andreas mentioned that the students might cheat. In fact, several of my undergraduate students who are doing their thesis, they a couple of them, a group of them, I think there were two or three groups of them are doing about the challenges of assessment of learning during online classes. And we found out that there is indeed a big deal of academic dishonesty that's going on because of this online learning. So it's a good thing to be it's a good topic to be studied in future, whether it is quantitatively or qualitatively, to address these challenges of assessment of learning. Yeah, that's it. That's my insight from the talk of Mr. Andreas.
Professor Vinadi, would you like to address these concerns?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Dr. Namoko. Thank you for the insight for studying more about the assessment during the online learning. So possibly later, yeah, next time you can share about some assessment that we can use so that okay, we can deal with the cheating students. Okay, yeah, okay, and also about the time of the teachers. Mostly because in Indonesia, online learning is just usually when we teach on-site learning, we teach for 2.5 hours, but in the online learning, we just need to teach for about, at the most an hour so that we can use the remaining time to do other activities. But of course, I understand that we need more preparation to do the online learning. So yeah, thank you for your comment and suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Vinadi, and thank you, Dr. Sara, for the fruitful conversation. Moving ahead with the conference. Our next presenter for the day is Nasir Al-Rabahi, Physical Education Department, College of Education, Qatar University, Qatar. His topic is Teaching Profession and Professionals, Economic, Social Statuses of Teachers, Insights from Qatar Community. You can see the abstract on your screens. Nasir was unable to join our conference due to some unavoidable reasons. If you have any questions regarding his abstract, you may leave them in the chat section and he will get back to you with his answers. Moving ahead, our next presenter is Sara Nomoko, College of Science and Technology, University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines, Cagayan de Oro City from Philippines. Her topic is Narrative Inquiry to Understand the National Achievement Test of Primary and Secondary School Students in Misamis Oriental, Philippines. You can see the abstract on your screens.
Ma'am, excuse me.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but this is not the abstract of my study. I think this one is the previous presenter's abstract because this one is from the Qatar's perspective. Thank you.
Okay. Please allow me a few moments.
Okay, it's all right. It's all right.
I would like to apologize to everyone. Please allow me a few moments more. Okay, Dr. Sarah, this is your abstract.
Yes, ma'am, this one. Thank you.
I'm really sorry for the goof up. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, everyone. Moving ahead with the presentation.
How to spend less time on.
Good day, everyone. This is Dr. Sarah Onomoko from the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines, Northern Mindanao, Philippines. The title of the study is Narrative Inquiry to Understand the National Achievement Test Performance of Primary and Secondary School Students in Misamis Oriental, Philippines. The Philippines K-12 curriculum has two large-scale assessment systems, and these are the National Achievement Test, which is implemented by the Department of Education through the Bureau of Educational Assessment, and the Program for International Student Assessment, or PISA. The performance of the Philippine basic education in math revealed that there was a steady decline in the last 3 years, placing the grade 6 students at the low mastery descriptive level of the Department of Education. Meanwhile, the PISA performance of the DepEd's basic education learners in 2018 revealed that among the 79 members and partner countries, the Philippines ranked at the bottom for performance in reading and second lowest for both mathematics and science. It is therefore the purpose of this study to evaluate the performance of basic education learners in the National Achievement Test during the school year 2018-2019 in the Department of Education divisions of the Misamis Oriental, Lingoog City, Cagayan de Oro City, and El Salvador City, all located in the Misamis Oriental, Philippines. Specifically, this study sought to identify the factors that inform the NAT results of the basic education learners. This research employed narrative inquiry from among 28 school administrators, NAT coordinators, and teachers from chosen schools. The participants of this study were purposely selected based on predetermined inclusion and exclusion criteria, which are: they must be a regular DepEd employee for at least 2 years prior to the implementation of the NAT in 2017-2018, either a school administrator or a NAT coordinator, and they must be willing to take part in the personal interviews. The interview questionnaire that was used in this study was a researcher-made interview protocol and was validated by 3 experts. For the data collection, the researchers sought permission from the school's division superintendent of the 4 DepEd divisions in Misamis Oriental, Philippines, and also from the school principals and the school teachers who are involved in the study. The personal interviews were conducted both face-to-face and through mobile phone calls. And the language that was used during the interview was the vernacular language to ensure that ideas are freely expressed by the interviewees and the participants. And of course, the interview was video and audio recording. The recording was with the permission of the research participants. For the data analysis, the voice data was transcribed to written data, and then the written data was translated back to back according to the principle of Bristol methodology. And then after the back-to-back translation from vernacular to English and vernacular, coding, categorizing, and arriving at themes was done through the conventional content analysis approach. For the ethical consideration, a letter of permission was duly sought by the Research Office of the University of Science and Technology of the Philippines and was duly authorized by MEDA. The researchers ensured that there was voluntariness of the research participation from the participants of the study, and to ensure that the participants' identity are kept anonymous and their information shared to the researchers are kept confidential, the use of good names were used. Also, the researchers informed the participants that the findings of this study will be published in peer-reviewed journal. Therefore, their participation to the study is voluntary by nature, and they can withdraw anytime during the course of the study. Fortunately, all the participants finished the research journey. The findings of the study reveal that there are 6 factors that inform the performance of the basic education learners. These are poverty, academic and preparedness, parental support, student motivation, insufficient instructional resources, and wrong interpretation of DepEd policies. For the poverty, according to the participants, teacher participants, they share that students have no time for studies because they are bound to perform household chores when they are at home. The teacher also revealed that the students are working students and they are juggling both work and studies at the same time. And due to financial handicap, students cannot buy necessary learning material.
I love paper planners. I love how inspired they make me feel.
For the academic and preparedness, it was found out that many students have poor retention, poor reading comprehension, and poor numerical skills. For the parental support, the teacher participants revealed that the students lack support from their parents and that parents do not make necessary follow-up with their children's progress at school. For the student motivation, it was also found out that students have poor or no studying habits at all, resulting from low motivation to their academic tasks. And in addition, the teacher participants revealed that the students are already earning, though at a very minimum wage from the factories within their community, in the desire to contribute to their family's income. For the insufficient instructional resources, it was found out that the review materials are not enough as there is only one book for several students to share. And the teacher participants also revealed that the review materials or the teaching resources for the students to use during review sessions are insufficient. And there is insufficient number of math teachers. According to the teacher participants, several math teachers are out of field once, meaning to say that they are not major in math, but they are teaching mathematics. In addition, there is a curriculum mismatch between the competencies taught in school and the competencies that are tested in the NAC. Another teacher participants share that there are too many competencies covered in the NAC. However, due to many constraints in the classes, not all lessons are covered during classroom instruction, and that local and city activities where students need to participate cause class disruptions. finally, for the wrong interpretation of DepEd policies, the future participants revealed that there is a wrong interpretation of the no student left behind policy and the Balik Eskwela policy. And then they also revealed that educational supervisors and school administrators push the teachers to promote students even if they are not yet ready to be promoted in adherence to the no student left behind policy. And finally, the feature participants revealed that schools are prompted to accept students even if they are not ready. So this is because there is, according to the teacher participants of this study, a wrong interpretation of the Department of Education's policy. In conclusion, the findings of the study reveal that the non-performance of the basic education learners can be viewed from two perspectives, family and DepEd. The familiar factors included poverty, which subsequently rippled down to academic unpreparedness, parental support, and student motivation. On the other hand, the factors from the DepEd's end included insufficient instructional resources and the misinterpretation of DepEd policies. As a recommendation, based on the findings of the study, it is recommended that these issues be addressed by the government policymakers and DepEd's curriculum designers. Therefore, more resources will be provided to schools to boost NAT performance. An intervention program may be conducted to address the low achievement of the students in the National Achievement Test, and that the themes that emerge in this study may be investigated quantitatively to determine its extent to the DepEd basic education learners as well as to the curriculum implementers. This study is a part of a bigger research project of the National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, in the Region 10 of the Philippines. The authors would like to thank the financial support of the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines for the realization of this project. And these are the references in this study. Thank you very much and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Sarah, for the eye-opening presentation. Would you like to add something more?
As I have mentioned in my presentation, that the result that I have presented just now is a part of a bigger research project. We still have another side of this research, which is the quantitative lens of the study. It was found out in that quantitative study that the students rank very low in math, English, and science, because predominantly because of the poor reading comprehension and poor numerical skills. So for any one of you here who would like to conduct a study about numerical skills and how to improve reading comprehension, then please let us know so we can cite your work, and then we can perhaps it can help in improving the performance of the students in the National Achievement Test here in the Philippines.
Sure. We would like to encourage all participants, if they have similar researches, please share them with Dr. Sarah. Any questions, anybody?
Oh yeah, I would like to ask question. Okay. Well, okay. So first of all, this is a amazing study, large and massive scale of study. I'm impressed. Okay. And then I would like to ask question about some of the terms you mentioned about Balik Eskwela policies. So what does it mean? Okay. And then you mentioned about misinterpretation of no student left behind. So maybe you can elaborate more on that. Thank you.
Yeah, my mistake. I really realized when I finished doing the video, I was like, why did I not interpret the balik eskwela? Balik means go back. escuela means school. So the Department of Education here in the Philippines, we have this policy to what's that? To encourage the out of school youth to go back to the regular mainstream, to the mainstream of education. That's therefore it is called balik escuela, go back or come back to school. And then the no child policy, I think this is not only in the Philippines, but it is the UNICEF's policy as in response to the sustainable development goal is DG, about the education for all. So because of these two policies, no student left behind and balik escuela or come back to school policies, the educational supervisors, according to the result of the interview, the educational supervisors of the Department of Education will push, they said push, the teachers to promote the students even if they are not ready for the next academic level, even if they are not ready cognitively, in any aspects. They have to promote the students because of the notion that no students should be left behind. And even if the students are not ready to come back to school, they are forced to go to school because of these policies. And I think it's very beautiful to conduct further qualitative study on this, both qualitative and quantitative studies on this. Balik in Bahasa, right? Is still come back, right?
Yeah, okay.
Balik.
I know balikbayan.
Balik bayan.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
thank you for your explanation.
Thank you for that insight.
Thank you, Dr. Sarah and Professor Vinadi, for the fruitful conversation. Moving ahead with the conference. Our next presenter for the day is Noor Shahida Hassan, Institute of Advanced Studies, University Malaya, Kuala Lumpur, from Malaysia. Her topic is identifying the difficulties in learning English language speaking skills for pre-university students. You can this you can see the abstract on your screen. Moving ahead with her presentation.
A very good day to all of you. I'm Nushaida Hassan from Malaysia, and today I'm going to present a paper entitled Identifying the Difficulties in Learning English Language Speaking Skill for Pre-University Students. Okay, first of all, there is one question that needs to be answered, the big why. Okay, given a situation in one speaking class, the instructor asks questions to the students, but nobody answered. So the instructor can't help but to assume maybe the student, they were being rude, or they just want to ignore me, or they don't even have any motivation to speak. So, as for the introduction for this paper, we would want to see the definition, the speaking skill first, yeah? Okay, it can be seen on the slide that speaking is very important in second language learning. Despite its importance, speaking has been overlooked in schools and universities due to different reasons like more emphasis on grammar and essays and unfavorable teacher-student proportions. So the problems that the students face is that they cannot remember anything to say and they do not have any motivation to speak or to express themselves. As mentioned by Rivers, 1968, and Lai and Ahmadi, 2016. And the students, they often have nothing to say, most probably because their teacher had selected a topic that is not appropriate or they are not familiar with, and they do not have enough information or to prepare for the presentation of speaking. And it is difficult for students to answer when the teachers ask them to tell things in a foreign language. So in this case, it's English language, because they have little opinions on what to say. So therefore, the objectives for this paper is to identify issues, difficulties, and needs of pre-university students learning English speaking skill. We are going to determine the students' perceptions on the significance of their motivation level to develop English speaking skill, and we are going to identify the difficulties of pre-U students experience when they acquire English speaking skill. Okay, as we know, English is the second language in Malaysia. So we have been learning the language since preschool to the primary, to the secondary, pre-university, and later in tertiary level. So this paper is focusing on the pre-university students. Once these students enter the pre-university level, it is sad to say that they do not see the importance of learning English anymore, as they need to focus. They think they need to focus on other core subjects such as maths or science. So it is sad to say that there is no push factor, as the grades of the evaluation for the subject, for English subject in pre-university level, will not be added into the students' cumulative grade point average or CGPA. Now let's look at the literature review part for this paper. Okay, as I mentioned just now, the pre-university student, they see English as not as important as other subjects. This is mentioned by a research done by Ganapati and Gui in 2017. And then there is no push factor compared to what they learn when they learn the SPM 1119 in their secondary level. Okay, for your information, SPM means Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia, and the 1119 is the code for English language. Okay, where English SPM 1119, the students are required to pass. Once other studies done by in 1996 showed that the students, they were shy and they were afraid of making mistakes if they speak in the language. And Wenqi, Wu and Yan and Marek 2011 and Suleiman in 2020 mentioned that lack of motivation contributed to why the students perform poorly in the speaking. Okay, and then Abdullah, Hussein and Ismail in 2019 mentioned that students' low self-esteem also contributed to the factor. Okay, now let's look at other researchers on the challenges among ESL pre-university students in speaking skill. Alright, the challenges among ESL pre-university students in speaking skill, as mentioned by Leong Ahmadi et al. 2017, the students mentioned that they had difficulties in speaking the targeted language due to lack of motivation. Cheong and James 2010 mentioned that the students, they do not see English as an important subject anymore once they finish their secondary school level. And limited practice among themselves also contributed to the challenges among the ESL students. As mentioned by Abdul Aziz 2007, Azlan Zakaria and Mat Yunus in 2019. Ismail 2008, Abdul Aziz 2007, Bilun and Kroman 2019 mentioned that the students, they did not use English in their daily life, and the language anxiety experienced by the learners originates from the learners themselves, school instructional practices, and social and cultural influence, putting them linguistically and psychologically isolated from English language use. And now let's look at the literature review on the motivation in learning speaking skill. Okay, Azlan Zakaria and Mat Yunus in 2019, in their research, they found out that some inability to speak due to low self-esteem. And then Bilun and Kroman 2019 mentioned in their paper that lack of motivation among the students make them not be able to speak well. And Abdullah, Hussein and Ismail 2019 mentioned that the students, they felt anxious around others who speak better than them, and they are scared being laughed at, meaning that they do not want to make any mistakes or their peers might laugh at them. So we move on to the methodology used for the research. Okay, this study applied a quantitative methodology, and pre-university students, they were given a set of questionnaire, and in the questionnaire, they were asked about their viewpoints, their needs, and their level of motivation during their English learning speaking classes. Okay, later, the data from the questionnaire was then analyzed using the statistical package for the social sciences, or SPSS. Now let's move on to the findings of the research. Okay, as for the findings, we have categorized the data that we receive into three items. Okay, there are English language speaking perception. The second one is confidence item, and the third one is the personal control. As for the English language speaking perception, there are five main factors that the students answered. Okay, it can be said that there is no negative perception about the skill itself, but the students, they admitted that English or speaking is a vital skill in English language, and they admitted that they enjoyed themselves in the speaking class, and they believe that speaking in English can generate income later in the future due to the fact that English is the international language. However, the students, they did mention that it is difficult to speak due to problems in grammar and syntax and sometimes pronunciation. And they also admitted that one of the reasons why they are not good in speaking is due to the fact that there's no practice at home, and therefore it hindered the speaking process. Now let's move on to the confidence item from the data. Okay, the students, they admitted that they were lack of confidence when it comes to speaking, and they said that they were lack of self-confidence and motivation to speak language. They felt anxious to speak outside the classroom, and they felt uncertain to speak in front of their classmates, especially those who do better than them, and they felt intimidated when speaking with their lecturers. Maybe they might think that the lecturers might detect the mistakes that the students make. However, they felt that if they have enough speaking skill, they will do okay in the speaking practice or presentation. And the third item from the data is the personal control. Okay, as for this one, the students, they admitted that they were in control of their learning process. It is good to know that the students admitted, they mentioned that if their grades were bad, especially in speaking grade, yeah, they would strive to improve them. And then in order for them to improve their speaking, they would engage talks with their friends, and they would seek help from the instructors if they need any help, especially when it comes to speaking. As for the summary of the findings, we have found out that the students, these pre-university students, they were anxious and uncertain to speak in the public, yes, but that did not hinder them from enjoying their speaking class. In other words, it can be said that these students, they did not have a negative perception on learning the speaking skill. And it is good to report that students would do their best in order to get good grades for the speaking test or presentation. Despite the fact that pre-university students pay little attention to their English speaking ability, it is safe to say that they are driven to succeed in this area, so that classroom can be improved and made more conducive to learning. So it is crucial that both instructors and the students pay attention to students' perception of their English language speaking abilities. In addition to the pre-university students' assessment of the English learning speaking skill, it is vital to assess their motivation, personal control, and academic grade related needs. So some strategies and approaches can be used by instructors to catch students' attention and boost their speaking motivation. And lastly, for the recommendation for future research, we think that more expert studies on the demands and the requirements should be carried out, and maybe other studies on how to prevent students from being unmotivated. And maybe we as instructors, we could come up with interesting activities to attract the students' interest in speaking. For example, the use of technology in the classroom, because as we know, we are teaching the youngsters and they are very familiar with technology, as these students are the digital natives. Okay, some examples that we can have is like having a platform, like a live streaming platform for them to do the presentation. That would be great, as their peers or maybe the families at home can watch them presenting, and then the parents or the family would be very proud of their son or the daughters. Okay. And that is the end of my presentation for today. And thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Thank you, Professor Noshahida. Would you like to add something more?
First of all, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for the late entry because it was raining heavily here due to this internet connection. So sorry about that.
That's not a problem. We are happy that at least you were able to join.
Okay, thank you very much.
Would you like to add something to your presentation?
So far, no, nothing.
Okay. Does anybody have any question?
Yeah, I just like to just clarify the methodology of the study. I if this insight may help, then it would be great. When I look at your research questions, it seems that there is a mix of quantitative and qualitative. It seems that you will need both quantitative and qualitative um, data on this, because the first research question was to identify the issues, meaning to say you are going to explore what are the issues, what are the difficulties and the needs of the pre-U students to in learning English. And then the second research question was to determine the perceptions, meaning the level of their perceptions. And then the third question, the first question is quali, the second question is quanti, the third question is quali, because you are going to identify the difficulties of the pre-U students. Now, you mentioned that you use the SPSS to analyze the data. However, the data that you presented has no numerical, there are no numerical.
Yeah, I
Okay,
agree.
sorry.
Because
There are no numerical
true,
data. So I was
true.
thinking maybe SPSS was not appropriate to do the data analysis, because the presentation, the results were basically qualitative in nature. I just would like to tie these loose ends.
I agree.
Okay.
I have an answer for that. The data, the one that using SPSS is it's in the paper. It's my mistake. It's my fault that I did not put it in my PowerPoint presentation. So sorry about that.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you very much. That was just the
It's
point.
okay. I'm
Okay,
learning.
thank you very
It's my
much.
first
Thank you
time.
very much.
Sorry.
No problem, no problem. We all learn and help each other here, right?
Thank you.
Okay.
But I do agree with you that we need quali and quanti to get more
Yes, yes, yes,
comprehensive data from the students. Yes.
yes. That's correct. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mm-mm.
Thank you, Dr. Sara and Norshaida, for the fruitful conversation.
Thank you.
All right, let's move ahead with the conference. Our last presenter of the day is Shaima Alhamudi, Faculty of School of Business and Quality Management, Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University, United Arab Emirates. Her topic is a systematic study on improving the effectiveness of online learning through a smart learning dashboard algorithm. You can see the abstract on your screens. Moving ahead with the presentation.
Through understanding the learner's goal. Effectiveness of online learning through a smart learning dashboard algorithm. I am Dr. Shaima Al-Harmoudi from Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University from Dubai, and I'm very happy to be sharing the insights of this research paper today. As we know, the traditional educational institutions like elementary schools, high schools, and universities have all tried to shift towards online learning platforms, especially during the epidemic caused by COVID-19. There are certainly many advantages of that shift. So the continuation of education during the pandemic was one of the major advantages in shifting to online learning. However, there are also certainly many limitations to online education systems, and the low course completion rate is one of the most prevailing ones when it comes to limitations. So the low completion rate is in online education is equivalent usually to a dropout in the physical education, and this is what usually happens. So in this research, we have analyzed the reasons for low completion rate, and discover the factors that influence it, and design an innovative smart learning dashboard algorithm to increase the course completion rates. So the main aim of this study and the proposed algorithm is to increase the effectiveness of online learning platforms by increasing the course completion rate and integrated with the e-learning dashboards. So the core contribution of the proposed algorithms would be the analysis of the goals of the students and e-learning platforms to understand their behavior, discovering the factors that govern the course completion rate and categorizing them into on their prominence as well. The study of the design criteria to design a smart learning dashboard algorithm and design of that algorithm as well, increasing the completion rate by applying the smart learning dashboard algorithm. Of course, we have looked at the existing literature review, and there is abundance of literature that looked at online education, especially after the pandemic during 2022. So all of the research paper agreed that online education is equally important as the traditional offline education because it makes the education system more dynamic and it allows many options for learners. They can attend online classes from anywhere, regardless of their geographical boundaries. So it really gives them that flexibility and accessibility to education. It also gives the flexibility of the self-paced learning because people are different and they have different ways of grasping education and learning. So the online education, due to its self-paced nature, it also became popular. However, this flexibility has also led to the limitation of the low course completion rate. This is what we have observed. Despite the numerous advantages of online education, that low completion rate is usually pointing fingers at its effectiveness. So various research has been conducted and published to increase that completion rate. For instance, Ma and his colleagues developed a model for improving teachers' online completion rate. They developed the model from two perspectives: the general influencing factors and the teacher's specific influencing factors. Their methodology, of course, it is effective. Other researchers also studied that the dashboard plays a vital role in keeping the learners engaged in online classes. Many of them proposed different types of dashboard designs to have a better online experience as well. So Kimberling developed a comprehensive learning dashboard for online learning that focuses on the dynamic and the cohesive learning experiences. However, their approach did not include the profession-wise e-learning influencing factors, which are also crucial to identify the reasons behind the low course completion rate. Another researcher like Yang studied the attention spanning detection tool for e-learning, which is really important. It is a self-assessment based approach that helps identify and solve the attention span related changes on online learning platforms. This proposed methodology that we are working on also uses that attention span as one of the factors, along with 4 other factors. So we are really thinking that through the algorithm that we are developing, more effective online learning is going to happen, which will increase the course completion rate as well. How did we do it? The methodology. We have taken 4 approaches. The first one is the goal analysis approach. So the first step is designing a smart learning dashboard for online learning platforms through understanding the learner's goals. So the online learning platforms are usually open for anyone. Anyone from any background can enroll in any course, which makes it challenging to understand the goals of the learners. So we conducted an online survey where 754 individuals responded, and these participants were enrolled at least in one online course. The purpose of this survey is to analyze the participants' goal for enrolling in such online courses. The participant responses have been illustrated in this diagram, in this figure. It indicates that the goals of attending online courses are influenced by the professions of the learners, and the learners attend the online courses out of interest and for employment opportunities. Service holders look for career development and self-development. They also attend online courses out of interest. Most businessmen take online courses out of curiosity and for self-development as well. And the figure shows that freelancers attend online courses for self-development and curiosity. Most of unemployed people try to prepare themselves for employment through these online courses. So these are the main goals for attending these online courses. Then we use the course completion factor analysis. Our survey shows that the course completion rate increases with time duration. The data shows that the completion rate is 4% only for the first 15 days. It increases to 13% and becomes 17% after 30 days. And then the completion rate is 22% after 55 days. And it is 35% after 60 days. So the average course completion rate in 6 months is usually 38%. This means that 62% of the students do not complete their courses in online learning platforms. So from these observations, we investigated that the course completion factor analysis. The first 5 factors are usually positive, and the other 5 are usually negative. When we say positive factors, we refer to what influenced the learners to complete the online course, while the negative, these are the reasons students leave without completing the course. So out of 754 participants, 704 mentioned these factors. So it's around 93.45% of individuals that took part in the survey. The remaining 6.5% included several other factors along with these factors. So here, the next slide, we have considered these as the prominent factors, which are self-motivation, teachers' requirement, employers' pressure, project demand, market demand. These are the 5 positive factors. The negative factors are hesitation, poor content, dissatisfaction, distraction, and loss of motivation. And you can see that the numbers vary according to the profession or the background of those who attend these courses, like students, service holders, businessmen, freelancers, and unemployed people, as we discussed. So based on this factor analysis, we have also designed the criteria analysis. The design criteria has developed using the results obtained from that factor analysis. So we figured out that self-motivation, market demand, poor content, dissatisfaction, and distraction are the factors and indicators that we used in the design criteria selection. The target for us is to increase the self-motivation, highlight market demand, avoid poor content, of course, and decrease dissatisfaction, avoid distraction. So the poor content usually depends on the course content creator. Of course, an active and very strict editorial board is essential to evaluate the courses before publishing to avoid the poor content. Even a good quality content can usually dissatisfy learners because, you know, of the nature of different learners, they have different learning capabilities and preferences. So this is beyond the scope of any editorial board to ensure that a course satisfies everyone. So that is why the design criteria to decrease the dissatisfaction is to give the learners the ownership to maintain the quality of the course. They can give feedback of the course whenever they prefer, and then the instructors can quickly actually develop and enhance the course based on their feedback and input. That's very important when it comes to online education. Losing attention and motivation are also natural to any human being. The target of the design proposed in this paper is to increase the self-motivation. So how do we do that? Through motivational quotes. They are a great way to stretch the attention span and keep the learners engaged for a longer time. So when they pause for the session in progress and leave when they lose motivation, whenever they pause, a JavaScript event is activated. Based on that event, the proposed dashboard shows motivational quotes that can increase the self-motivation of the learners. One of the factors that also influence the course completion rate is market demand. That's why in the proposed Smart Learning dashboard, we propose that the dashboard shows the recent market demand information and associated, let's say, yearly payment for pupils and experts in this current course. So when they pause or exit from the full screen mode, the dashboard embeds the related job description with the yearly salary on the video without blocking any portion of the learning material. This can also increase student engagement and the course completion rate. Also, the JavaScript events can track the activities of the learners, count the number of tabs they are opening, and the ideal time duration of each tab. And of course, we are not expecting to have 100% avoidance. However, the design criteria can allow them to remain distracted for only a short period of time. After that, they receive notification with opportunities that they can avail if they complete the course. This figure illustrates the self-motivation, the teacher's requirement, employers' pressure, projects demand, market demands, and what are the impact variation of the course completion factors to each one of the studied stakeholders. The algorithm then that we have developed, thankfully to also my co-author, the algorithm fulfills the target of the design criteria, method, and target using an algorithm. We have named it the SLD algorithm. The algorithm requires permission from the learners to store the data as cookies and use them to increase self-motivation, highlight the market demand, and avoid the poor content, decrease the dissatisfaction, and avoid the distraction, which has been presented as this algorithm that you see in front of you. The results based on running this algorithm, which was implemented using JavaScript, PHP, and MySQL. It has been tested using 4 web browsers, as you see here: Google Chrome, Firefox, Opera, and others. The function performs smoothly, and the time variations, as you can see, among different browsers are negligible. The technical performance measured in milliseconds, as you can see in this table, it shows the performance of the LCD algorithm that overlaps with different browsers, and there's no functional failures. So it works well with different browsers. The experimental evaluation of the algorithm was conducted from the response of only 32 participants, although 764 participants enrolled in a particular online course, and they were actually approached. So only 32 shared their experiences, the completion rate before and after applying this SDL algorithm. An average improvement of 19.25%, 14%, 22.25%, 6.5%, and 10.5% of the students, service holder, businessmen, freelancers, and unemployed categories has been observed, which means on average the course completion rate was improved by 14.5% when the algorithm was applied and used. Of course, there are different limitations also to this research. For instance, there is the participant limitation. The most crucial limitation of the study is the experimentation. Of course, it requires thousands of observations to properly evaluate a dashboard. Of course, this was beyond the scope of this experiment, but we can actually in future studies target larger participants as well. The reverse effect analysis is another, the absence of it is another limitation. It may happen that a learner pauses the course to take notes or to do some brainstorming. However, the proposed dashboard does not have enough intelligence to understand that behavioral pattern of the learners. So a pattern-based machine learning algorithm can overcome this limitation in future studies. Gender-based analysis also is another future actually study. The survey that is done here was not gender specific, so I think it is really important and interesting to see the gender differences when it comes to completion rate as well. The results also and analysis presented in this study are based on the online learning platforms. It can also be applied on handheld mobile devices, and this is another area that can be explored in the future. So to conclude our study, we would say that online education is part of the mainstream education now. The diversity, the global accessibility, it fuels the popularity of this new norm of education. However, when it comes to the completion rate, it becomes a challenge, and more studies are of course required to look at how we can enhance and improve the completion rates. When we have 62% of learners that are not completing the online courses, it means that we have 60% of dropout when we compare it to conventional education. So it's really important that we look at the completion rate when it comes to online education, and this study is one step towards achieving that goal. And the factors that have been actually pointed out in this study, which are self-motivation, market demand, content quality, learning dissatisfaction, and distraction during learner, should be looked at in different angles in order to understand the factors that also influence the completion rate, along with the smart learning dashboards and how we can improve the experience of learners through the smart learning dashboard in order to have a better completion rate and hopefully a better experience in online education. Thank you so much for attending my presentation, and I'm very happy to participate in this conference. Here are the list of references that I used to conduct this study. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Shaima. Would you like to add something more?
Thank you. Being faculty of business and quality management at a smart university, we are the first smart university in the Middle East and North Africa. So we have taken into into our consideration all of the factors that can influence any type of online education. For us, the shift to online education during COVID-19 was not really new to us, because we used to deliver our courses using virtual platforms and smart dash platforms as well. However, the pandemic allowed us to look into more details on the behavior of other institutions such as the schools, higher education, primary schools, and other universities around us as well. So it was a very interesting study to be conducted in order to understand the rate. For us, the completion rate is 100% because we offer certifications and we offer degrees. So if they are not completed, they will not be able to have their degree, and we monitor that closely. We deliver our sessions usually virtually. So the instructor is actually delivering the session on a virtual basis. So we ensure the completion of that session and the course itself. But I know that many other, especially institutions, especially during the pandemic, they actually had completely self-paced, let's say, video segments to be completed and completely online courses to be completed. And that where we saw that there is a gap in the completion rate that was worth to look at. And it doesn't only add to the online or the self-paced, understanding the behavior of participants in any kind of online or virtual or blended type of education is really important to enhance the experience of those learners and also ensure the quality of delivery of such courses. Thank you for listening and for attending my presentation.
Very well said indeed. Thank you. Any questions, anybody?
Yeah, the study is highly technical, and I was trying to focus myself and trying to understand. But from the perspective of an educator, I am interested with the result. What are the factors that motivate a student to finish the course? Is it okay if we share it once again so I can have an idea and then perhaps include that in our Dr. Shaima, is this published so we can cite your work?
Actually, I've sent it to the conference publishers here, so it will be published soon, hopefully, by the publishers of this conference.
Because it's interesting to understand why people complete a certain course or a certain a certain endeavor, and it's I really got interested with the factors that came up in your study, and thank you very much for that.
If you saw in the study, we did not only look at only one segment, which are the students. We looked at multiple segments: employees, and freelancers and all. So we tried to understand the motive, and they have different motives, as you saw in the analysis. They have different motives, whether it is for self-development, pure interest, or to be employed for those who are unemployed. So the data makes sense when it comes to the drive of completion, but for the if you are interested in the students are usually motivated to complete because it is a requirement for their graduation. And also for us at our university, most of our learners segment is those who want to work and study at the same time. Physical education would be a hindrance to working, especially that usually universities deliver sessions during the morning time, and it's difficult to work and study at the same time. So most of our learners actually are employees, and students are mothers, working mothers and studying, completing their studies at the same time. People who are in less privileged areas where they cannot have accessibility to education easily, because also our rates are less than the rates of physical education due to the nature of delivery. So usually online education's, let's say, customers are different than the this was pre-COVID-19, but after COVID-19, because so many people started experiencing that, even regular students and learners got interested in such mode of education. I know that it can have multiple sides, like and advantages and disadvantages, and we saw that a lot, especially with for us with the primary school. For instance, it was very difficult for the kids to have their education online. The mothers were involved in the education, so it created really a huge dilemma at that time. However, such studies would really, have that analysis of the best target audience or customers for such a mode of education, how to maximize it, because the world is shifting actually to online education or a blended mode of education anyway. Yeah, so I think more studies are needed, and I'll be happy to actually jointly have this. It's very interesting that we have such a diversity in this conference. I see from Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia, Qatar, and Hungary, and the UAE. It's very interesting to have that joint research together to understand and analyze such factors. Very glad to have you all here and to meet you. And thank you for the organizers of this conference.
You're most welcome, and thank you for joining the conference. Thank you, Dr. Sarah and Dr. Shaima, for the fruitful conversation. Moving ahead with the conference. With this, we are coming to an end to this conference. With great pleasure and enthusiasm, I would like to conclude that the conference was a great success. Many people have contributed in different ways to turn this event into a smoothly running conference with very interesting presentations. This conference has resulted in good discussions and networking. I owe my gratitude to all the presenters and patient listeners, to the coordinators and the whole staff of Eurasia Research for their constant support. I would also like to thank all the universities and institutes who have sponsored our participants and people who have directly or indirectly contributed in the smooth conduct of this conference. Some of our upcoming conferences are: in February, we have Dubai. In March, we have Singapore. In April, we have London. Please refer to your friends and colleagues. Thank you for your patience. At last, I would like to ask all of you for your feedback. Is there any suggestions or feedback for Eurasia Research? Professor Vinadi?
I think it
As
is.
we are now,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yes, Professor Vinadi, you may start, please.
Yeah, okay, I think this was a success. Yeah, okay, I would like to say thank you for all the researchers here, because I learned a lot from all of you, and also for the organizing committee, it was a success. So possibly later we can have more time for discussions, because I don't know, the time is so limited, and then maybe we can look at the paper before or the abstract before, so that we can prepare our questions, so that I don't know, the technical things. Possibly if we can look at the abstract first, and then we can prepare our questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Andreas. Dr. Sarah?
Sorry. Yeah, when you ask what are the possible topics that we might want to venture on the future research conferences, I am interested with, because I am in technical vocational, so the courses are really more on hands-on, highly manipulative courses. I would like to recommend, if possible, to be considered in this conference, that how is our educational system transitioning to the new normal? Are our schools ready? Are our students having been out physically from the school for more than 2 years. Are they ready? I think it would be great to do a study on this transitioning time in our educational system.
Professor Garaha, welcome to the conference.
Thank you all of you because I know many things, but today I have many things to do. Yeah, thank you because my father died. Okay, so sorry I am late today. Thank you very
That's
much.
all right.
Yeah. Thank you. I know many things. Yeah, thank you. Every knowledge. Thank you very much. Thank you all of you. Thank you all presenters. Yes, thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you for joining the conference. Dr. Shaima.
Yes, thank you so much for the conference and organizing it well and having it online so that we can have the chance to meet from different places around. And looking forward to join other conferences as well.
Thank you for your encouragement. Nor Shahida.
First of all, again, thousand apologies for being late. I would like to express my gratitude to the organizer for allowing me to participate in this conference. It is such a pleasure for me to see all of you. I'm a newbie, so bear with me. But all in all, this is the best conference ever. Thank you again.
Thank you for your praise, and we were happy to host you. Thank you for joining.
Again.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. And with this, we are concluding the conference. Hope to see you soon in our future conferences as well. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
It would be great to be connected on Facebook if you want.
Yes.
Yeah, right. At least you can start collaborations and potential networks, collaborations of research in the future.
Everybody, please join our Facebook group.
Yeah, we have Facebook page. Good. And then we will see each other there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Goodbye.